Hello, good morning. I'm just getting on Instagram here as well. Good morning. Good Thursday morning. It's a beautiful Thursday morning. I'm definitely waking up still. I'm definitely here at 20 after 7 today for 7 a.m. energy readings. But sometimes it's really important to just go with the flow. So I'm just gonna maybe ramble for a few seconds to see if anyone hops on this morning before I get into the reading. But yeah, I have my coffee here. I'm gonna be drinking it today because I need to still wake up. And but I'm here and I'm present, and that is what's most important. Even if it's 20 after 7, when my intention is to go live at 7 a.m. every day, I still get to show up. I still get to be here with you. And that follow through is really how we train ourselves to up level our commitment and, be on time more consistently and all of that. So just going to give a few more seconds while I sip my coffee to see. It's definitely hot. Now, as far as I know, I don't always see who's watching over on Facebook here. So let me know if you're arriving. Let me know, just give a wave or a shout out in the comments so I know you're here. And yeah, let's see, we're already 2 minutes in, so I'm going to get started. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and pull our card first thing. Actually, I changed my mind already. Let us find out where exactly we are right now in the full moon that's happening. Okay. So let's see. I'm hearing my dog. I'm feeling like she wants to go outside. So if I have to step away for a sec, that'll be okay. Okay. Because I wanted to look and see, yeah, so the full moon was just exact, like as we were all waking up this morning. It's at 23 degrees right now in Aquarius, and the sun's at 22. So when they share the same degree number, that's when they're, completely opposite and completely, the full moon's at its peak, basically. So I'm just gonna, literally an hour ago is when it was full, and then a couple hours before that was still full. But it's an energy that, once it gets close enough to being that full moon, we're feeling it. And then I wanted to pull this card because I feel a few different messages, potential messages that want to come through, like really from a heart-centered place today because of what I'm feeling. And, I know that I kind of channel for the collective a lot in my energy field. So usually when I'm feeling something, like it's going to resonate with other people because I'm picking up on, not just my own like very specific personal energy anymore at this point in my life. It's more of the collective, what the collective's feeling. So I wanted to get some feedback from the cards to see what message they want me to share. They being my guides. If you ever hear me say they, I mean like my guides, source, God, spirit. But let's see what comes through. And so since I'm going into the reading, this replay will be available on Facebook and YouTube, and we're live on Instagram and Facebook. So you can find my Facebook page. If wherever you happen to be watching this, there's a way to access my other social medias. You can go to my bio on Instagram You can, there'll be links on my Facebook and in the bio or in the description box on YouTube, depending on wherever you're watching this, if you want to try to catch the lives. 7 a.m. Pacific time every day, sometimes 7:20. All right, the cards are super slow. Like, I am super tired. I'm actually not that tired, but okay, interesting. We got 2 coming out. Okay, wow. Awesome. Okay, interesting. I wasn't expecting this to be the message, but it's great. So we have the Chariot. Let's see if Facebook can see these. We have the Chariot and the 2 of Wands. So whenever I'm, intending to pull one card and I have 2 that come out, I take them as a, conjunct message together. So the Chariot is essentially like, it's forward momentum, it's moving forward, it's progress, but it's deliberate and slow progress. Well, sometimes it can be actually, it's not necessarily like slow like molasses. It's not necessarily like slow like we're trying, like we want things to go faster, but it's just not. But it's just deliberate. It's moving. It's like a chariot where, you have to like kind of be careful on the cobblestone road, and it's pulled by horses, so it's not like a car. It's definitely something that gets to move more steadily, but very like assuredly. And I'm getting it with the 2 of Wands here, which is about, seeing a new potential or a new, like this ball to me always symbolizes the new potential. And we have 2, which is about, it's coming after the Ace of Wands, which is like just the idea, just the spark of inspiration for a new potential. And then the 2 is more like seeing it start to manifest, seeing, I like to think of 2s with the dichotomy that they have. And when you have that kind of those opposites or that mirror, you can actually see whatever it is more clearly because you have some kind of contrast. Does that make sense? So like, for example, something that we teach a lot in the spiritual community is like, you can't see the light without the dark. You can't know love without seeing fear or seeing the opposite of it. So it's like we learn through this contrast, and this contrast allows us to see more clearly a new vision. I'm seeing the water here too, and it's almost reminding me of the symbol of Aquarius a little bit. Aquarius is not actually a water sign, it's an air sign, but Aquarius is very much, a vision maker, a visionary, that's the word. So I'm just gonna kind of speak into a message that wants to come out with these cards, and that is that a lot of times we want to know the answers right away. We want to know the answers before we start something. We want to, we want to know what's going to happen in our lives before we take action. And that way of being really holds us back, because the truth is life and our path and our purpose really unfolds step by step. It's not something we get to know like a whole game plan for ahead of time, ever. It's just not the way it works. You can have a big vision that drives you forward, something that, you don't know how to get to, but it's pulling you. It's what you're working towards. But that, there's always a gap in between that vision and where you are, and the steps in between are what you get to take one by one as you go through your journey. So I feel like the message that wants to come through is, remember that the most important part of forward momentum in your journey is to have that vision, of that potential that's driving you forward. And to know that if you are in tune with that vision, then you are moving forward, even if you don't quite see how how the pieces are playing in. How and for example, like sometimes we get called, and the more intuitively tuned in you get, the more in touch with your higher self you get, the more you see these cues. And it's like sometimes we get called to do something that doesn't make sense to us. We don't understand, like, what is the purpose of this? Why am I supposed to do this? How is it going to lead me closer to where I want to go? And when we end up choosing to trust that impulse and go through with whatever it is that we're feeling called to do, and it doesn't always lead to this like immediate shift. Sometimes it's like something we had to express to understand ourselves better, or something we had to do to see where, what areas we still need to work on. And, a lot of times it can feel like a little bit of a step backwards, just because we seem to have this expectation of like forward movement, forward momentum looks like this. It looks like, it looks like a chariot, driving forward. But that's kind of what I was saying about it can be slow moving. It's deliberate, but it's not always completely clear. Just like this, Two of Wands is like a new vision. It's something that you see in your mind's eye. It's something that you can start to believe in, but it's not necessarily something that it's like we just need to let go of our expectations of what's going to happen after we take an action. Okay. Hi, good morning, Jen. So I wanted to pull a clarifier, and I got the the 8 of Wands, which is about just taking action, just going for it, just moving. Okay, so, the message is really, we need to let go of those expectations of what it's going to look and feel like when we finally take an action towards our vision, when we finally take, tune in and listen to the call and answer the call and take a step forward. So I want to share a little bit of a personal story, because this is kind of what's inspiring this, like what I'm getting for this message, and maybe it'll help you apply it to your life. So last night, I'm actually doing these. So I'm doing these 32 days of energy reading. So if you're new here, please join the page so you can get our notifications at 7 a.m. every morning, or about 7 a.m. Pacific time. But this is part of a challenge I'm doing with the coaching program that I'm in. And last night I got the call or the inspiration to basically get in the group. It's a small group, and I wanted to share my story. I wanted to practice sharing my story, going through the details of like what I've been through, what I've experienced in life, and express how I feel like my experiences have led me to be a healer. And that's kind of the purpose that I'm stepping into. That's the vision that I'm stepping into. And it felt like an exhale as I was sharing my story to the group. I was just, basically it was about a 20-minute long live video that I did, basically just sharing everything that has been my biggest challenges, because those challenges are your biggest why. Hi, Callie. Thanks for joining. Those challenges that you've been through are your biggest why for whatever you're meant to be doing in your life. So I shared my story in my group's Facebook page, and it felt like a big exhale. And then I got really scared. I felt like, those old thoughts started coming up again, where it's like, who am I to, kind of talk about myself, and who am I to like think that, because I know that so many people have been through so many much harder things than I have. And so who am I to say that, my experience has allowed me to learn what it takes to heal yourself from anything, because what I really want to do is coach people through the process of self-healing, and hold space for people when they go into those really dark spaces, because that's what I had to do for myself, and I know that I could do it for other people, because that's the experience that I'm stepping into. It's the slow movement forward into like, oh, this person's calling on me to be there for them, and then I am able to really hold space and do that. So all this to say, it's like I got called to share my story. I thought, okay, this is the next step in, getting to my vision. And then I had to deal with all of this kind of fear and all of this old emotion. And it's like I had several people, watching live with me, and I wasn't getting comments. And I was like, is this landing for people? Am I oversharing? Like, is this okay? And just all of this, all of these like internal dialogues that we get to heal constantly, that were given to us as children, but, aren't serving us. And a lot of times, the more we heal, the more we can kind of stay up here in this higher vibration state. But something that I also shared in that live is I always think there's something more for us to be healing. And so what this did, what I didn't realize it was for, is I got to share my story, and then I got to see what else underneath, like, I'm still insecure about, or I'm still needing to heal. And that is actually going to be moving me forward. Like, that is this chariot energy for me, even if it doesn't look like what I thought it was going to look like. It didn't look like, everyone in my group now suddenly wanting to connect with me one-on-one so they can like tell me their darkest, deepest secrets. Like, that's not what unfolded. Doesn't mean that that's not still a potential, in the future, but that's not like my expectation of why I was being called to do that. Wasn't exactly how it unfolded, but it doesn't make it any less of a positive, important action to move me forward. Okay, so I really hope that, personal example helped somebody or helped this message land. If you joined late, please watch the replay. I basically just did a quick reading for the morning, tapped into the energy, and hopefully provided you with some guidance that you can use for the day ahead. I'm here every morning at 7 a.m. at or about 7 a.m. Pacific time doing daily energy readings. And you can catch it on Facebook. You can catch it on Instagram at Igniting Insight, and the replay will be available on Facebook and YouTube. So also, if you're interested, I do offer private readings. I'm going to go ahead and pop my link right in here for those in Facebook. Instagram, you can find the link in my bio, and YouTube, you can find the link in my description. So there's the link if you are interested in checking out my private readings. You can always private message me if you have any questions, or just would like to connect a little bit before you go ahead and book. That is something that I'm open to at this time. And yeah, with all of that said, I hope you all have a great day. Thank you so much for watching. Namaste.